Welcome to group chat.
Woo-wee.
I'm trying to mix it up. I didn't really feel good about that one, but I realized that every episode I do the same. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for group chat, and I'm going to keep working on it.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Well, we're here, all three of us.
We're all here, the full group. We're ready to chat. This is everyone's favorite. So even my mom is very outspoken about how much better the pod is when we're all three on it. So, Mom, I hope you enjoy this one. We got a lot to go over. We're living in an inflationary world.
Yes.
Or
not, according to Elon.
Or not. Good point. And according to Elon, inflation's going away. According to Anand, the recession is here. Inflation is affecting especially people's Saturday night family dinners. So we're going to talk about all that. We're going to talk about everything going on in the news. We're going to talk about Google, what's going on there. They have a focus. They have a efficiency problem. Of course, We're going to check in on some Elon news. Big one here, too, is we're going to talk about, we thought that the biggest fashion item of the last year, the last 5 years probably was, I would say, the Kanye West Gap sweater. We talked about it a lot. Did $10 million in revenue just online. This massive item. Turns out, not even close. The Gap Kanye sweater has been blown out of the water by this other fashion item. So, listeners, you can try to think of what it might be. But I think once you hear it, you're going to be both sad, but also say, yeah, unfortunately, that makes sense.
Amazing.
Okay. You guys ready to get into it?
Yep.
Let's do it.
Cash.
Ladies and gentlemen, group chat.
Cash.
It's $1 trillion. Hot.
Hey, guys.
Hello.
Welcome to group chat.
We are back.
Any weekend highlights we want to catch up on? Anyone do anything cool?
I went to a wedding in Carmel.
Oh, yeah. You took a PJ, right?
No. I did the old drive. You did the $7
I thought
gas?
we were saying, I thought money was flying in. Yeah.
I did feel a little richer this weekend.
Okay.
Just being in Carmel.
Yeah. It's a rich place. No recession going on there?
Absolutely not. The place was slammed. In fact, this restaurant that I went, we waited to put our name down. We thought it was walk-in, so we're like, oh, it's a little shopping center. We'll put our name down. I was like, how long's the wait? And she goes, 2 p.m. It is 9:30 in the morning. What kind of food is it? It's just like a breakfast spot or whatever. And so I was like, fine, we'll go eat breakfast somewhere else. We'll come back at 2. I come back at 2. They said they'll text when the table's ready. I wasn't going to wait. So 2:05.
I wish you waited just 5.5 hours in the lobby.
I said, I actually made a comment to her.
I'll be here.
Made a comment to her. I'm like, where do I wait for the next 5 hours? And obviously she didn't take kindly to that. And walked around, whatever. We did our thing. And then at 2:05, I went back. And she's like,
Did you go back out of principle or were you still hungry?
No, I was looking for a place to sit down and have a snack before the wedding.
But were you just caught in the hype of what is worth a 5-hour wait, or why did you go back?
At this point,
did you already have food at 9:30? You must have gotten a bagel or something.
We had breakfast, and then I was like, let's go have a late lunch. I was with Spiro.
You just had to see what this place was.
Yeah, and I was like, we walked into a few restaurants that were busy, so I was like, I have a res here. Why don't we just go here? I show up at 2:12. She goes, you missed it. Sorry.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
She's like, she wouldn't seat you.
Nope.
Wow.
So I think...
Okay, so no inflation. Because Anand, were you just talking about going somewhere over the weekend that was empty?
So yeah, very, very different. So I think Carmel is the beneficiary of...
Very rich people in San Francisco.
San Francisco is uninhabitable.
Yeah.
So they've all left.
Yeah.
And actually downtown San Francisco, my closest friends, they want to move to the burbs, blah, blah, blah. Everyone's out. So I think Carmel got a lot of influx of that. Pebble Beach is there, as you know. You're a big golfer.
Great place.
You can just
everyone's just talking golf there. Everyone looks like they golf, even if they don't or not.
Yeah.
And everywhere you go, it's just like white dudes in golf hats just walking around.
Those are
I
my
think
people.
I think it's just an enclave of like
Wealthy people.
that didn't want to be in cities.
The car show is apparently this week, the Pebble Beach car show.
Yeah.
So I'm sure the place
Just
is going
rich
to be
people
bananas.
stuff.
Yeah,
You just play golf and like walk around and look at
It's beautiful.
nice
It's
things.
definitely, you want to go check it out once. I mean, it's quite far from LA. It's close to San Francisco.
It's not far if you have a PJD.
No, yeah. If you
That's
have
right.
a PJ, it's great.
Is it on the ocean? Is it overlooking the ocean?
Yeah, Carmel. It's called Carmel by the Sea. It's
Mhm.
literally on the ocean. You walk. The beach is so crowded. The weather wasn't even warm, and it was so crowded. And then where the venue where the wedding was like insanely beautiful. Yeah, I mean, it's great.
Okay. No recession.
Yeah.
See, those people are living by our motto of
They
you
continue
make
to
your own
act
reality.
rich.
That's the high end version. So over the weekend, Saturday, should I say the name of the restaurant? I don't know.
Why
It
not?
doesn't matter.
Why not?
It's not
It's
a
my
diss.
favorite Mexican restaurant in LA. It's
Okay.
called
Yeah,
El
it's a great-
Compadre.
Great place. Yeah. Not dissing
And
it.
I probably go there once every 2.5 weeks. I think
Okay.
that's my cadence. And I've been doing that for years. Typically Saturday night, 1 hour wait, no matter what.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Pop
matter.
It's a
always
lively
lively,
for the
classic,
listener.
like mid-tier restaurant, right? Like it's not
Yep.
too expensive.
It's not cheap.
But it's not cheap, but it's not expensive. Like
Yeah.
there's
Mhm.
more.
It's not Javier's.
Javier's is expensive.
Yeah.
No
I
tacos
actually
in
went to
Bay Area
Javier's
either.
today, and Javier's was like an entree is $50 minimum.
You can get away at El Compadre for like a $10 like combo or whatever, and like
Not
you-
10.
Enchilada.
Not
yeah,
10.
15.
Maybe like $17.95
yeah, but you're out of there.
$12.50. Come on.
plus.
Have
Yeah,
a great
but
time.
given
Grab
what-
a mark.
Like some of the other restaurants, like Frida, Javier's, they're way more expensive
Way more expensive.
in this part of town. So we're going there. We got the kids down. We're like, all right. I was like, I want to go to El Compadre. Go around 7:38. We were prepping, bracing ourselves for the 1 hour wait. We both had like podcasts lined up. We put our headphones on and just stand there. And, like,
Why didn't you just make a reservation?
I think there's a minimum number of people for El Compadre, and I didn't want to be the jackass that
No, an
shows.
open table. That you can make an El
I didn't think about it. Whatever.
Part of the experience. That's
Experience.
what's.
Just,
Yeah.
Wait, maybe there's a Dodger game on the TV. I'm trying to get the
Yeah.
whole experience.
Come on. Have a night out. Kids are down.
Yeah, and go there. It's completely empty.
Completely empty.
It's empty. It's probably like, I mean, it's not empty, but like I would say there was probably like 30% of the tables were open, and the only reason I think we weren't seated immediately was because of staff reasons.
Yeah, they're short staffed.
They're
Yeah.
short staffed. So, but like you just looked at booth after booth after booth after table, and I was like,
It was
"Geez,
Saturday?
Saturday night, 8 p.m.
In the summer, there should at least be tourists.
Yeah, and I was
That
just
feels recession-y to me.
my recession spidey sense really perked up on Saturday night because this is like it's all swats of life at El Compadre. You
Yeah.
have like the struggling actor. You have the struggling like whatever.
Everyone's struggling.
Everyone's struggling in there.
But I feel like you also have like the successful actor. I feel like you literally have everything.
Yeah, you have everything there. I think it's a pretty good kind of basket of what LA is. You literally
Yeah.
can see everything.
It
You have
is,
super
it is,
successful people. You have the struggling artist and whatever. And I was shocked. And I think the only reason, and I thought it would get busier by like 8:39. It was like, oh, maybe we're on the early side, the parents, whatever. And it didn't.
It didn't.
No.
Yeah, that feels like a good. I don't think Carmel by the Sea is a good litmus test, but I think in our bubble,
El
that's
Compadre
a
is
pretty
one.
good. Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty good sample.
The one thing I'll tell you about Carmel by the Sea, the restaurants are cheap.
Really?
Really?
Like dirt cheap.
Why?
I
That
couldn't-
seems
I-
weird.
Yeah, like we went to breakfast, 4 people, coffees, juices and pancakes, eggs, like a pretty healthy, hearty breakfast. It was like $70.
Maybe they're a bunch of dummies because you have a 5-hour wait. Just
Yeah, what the
jack up
fuck? Just
prices.
jack up your
Yeah,
prices.
yeah.
You're not learning anything in this inflation environment.
No.
Oh my
it's-
gosh.
But it's a beautiful place. The
Okay.
interesting thing is driving there. There's I don't know where we stopped, somewhere, whatever, some area where there's a lot of people stopped to get gas, and there's 8 gas stations. Okay, It's the funniest thing. There's like, Pilot J and or whatever that's called, and Arco and Exxon and Shell. About 5 gas stations had prices at $5.29 a gallon. Okay. 2 gas stations had gas at $6.99.
What?
Shell and Mobil. What? Dude, I mean, you see across the street the price, right? Like, and there was
Why would
one
that
guy
be?
at the Mobil station. I was like, that guy's rich.
That guy's
But
rich.
what's the-
That's a sign of wealth.
Were the other gas stations slammed? So he was just like, I don't care. I'll pay the extra $1.
I mean, they were slammed, but there was no wait.
Yeah, you can get in.
You can get a slot.
How does that
I
make
didn't wait.
any
I just
sense?
pulled up to an Arco and I paid $5.29. The schmuck at Mobil was happily, unless you have a Mobil gas card, is that the only reason you would pay
Maybe that person's
70 cents more a gallon?
there's a good chance that this person's parents just gave a mobile gas card.
Yeah, that's what
It's
I'm
like,
thinking.
Yeah, I have a feeling that person, for whatever reason, just doesn't quite value money.
At all. If you have a 20-gallon tank and 70 cents, it's $14. You
But
just
how do they
pissed
get
away.
away with having that price? I mean, aren't they just empty all day while everyone else is just cars
like
are rolling through?
Exactly. Like, it just is insane. I couldn't believe it.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Well, there's
then
a
I
lot
went-
of weird stuff going on.
And
Did you go by Pebble Beach?
We saw it from on a walk.
It's a beautiful place.
Yeah.
Been there
It-
once.
It looks amazing. I mean, the area, it looks like a bunch of Apple people live there, mainly because if you look at a Mac OS, all you see is Monterey,
Yeah,
Big
I
Sur,
know.
like
Yeah.
all those
All the
places.
stock desktops are like what you were seeing walking
Yeah,
around.
exactly. So I was looking at these houses, very classic old school architecture, and then there's like a glass house. And I was like, that's got to be someone from Apple that
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
made like $200 million and lives in Carmel. But I think the other, so on the way there, it was Friday, and I was like, I'm going to stop at one of these gas stations and buy a lottery ticket.
Okay.
Because I was like, it's $1 billion. It's worth stopping at like the random gas station.
You're just
gonna
wiping
stop in
out
the rich part of town?
$337 million. It's a 1.337.
When I went in the morning, it was only $1 billion. By the end of the day, it was 1.337 billion, and that's only
so
the third largest in U.S. history.
That blows my mind. I thought for sure. I saw it all over social media. I thought that was the largest.
Yeah.
1.337 billion. And you stopped in the rich part of California to buy the ticket.
No. I stopped in farm country,
Oh, okay.
like in the middle of nowhere, because I was like, you know what? This feels like a place.
Yeah. Karma just wouldn't let it happen in Carmel.
Yeah, it wouldn't happen. Yeah, Carmel.
That's not right. Yeah, that's not right. So I take it you didn't win.
That's
It
apparent.
looks like did the winner come forward yet?
No, so this is a big problem with the lottery. So historically, we used to see who the winner was. And then we know what happens. They spend all their money, the family sues them, they go broke, and
Yeah, we saw
whatever.
the documentary.
Yeah. But now it's private and people never come forward. How do we know that this person in Illinois, they're claiming won, actually got the money? What proof do we have?
Good point. But didn't they say in this article that they didn't even come forward yet?
Yeah.
So there's 1.337 billion just sitting in someone's like
They just know
soggy
it's purchased in Illinois, right?
Yeah. I'm sure there's people who bought thousands of tickets and like companies, and
Imagine this thing goes unclaimed.
oh my God.
I mean,
That's
that thing's
insane.
just sitting in a pair of Levi's somewhere in
Somewhere,
fucking
yeah.
Illinois. Oh my
I'm
God.
just shocked at like, I don't know. On this point, our friend Kevin Stamler was at the same wedding, who listens to this podcast.
Okay.
Hey, Kev.
Love Kevin.
We were going for a run on Saturday morning. And
Look at you running before the 5-hour wait for food.
Yeah, you should have ran a
You
marathon
did.
during the wait.
Yeah, I could have. So I'm running with Kevin, and he goes, I listen to the pod, and he's like, what do you guys think? You're attacking institutions all day. CDC, Federal Reserve. And he's like, if you remove those institutions and everyone keeps doubting it, then you'll have chaos.
Yeah.
Because there needs to be some basic boundaries and rules. And he's like, you guys are just, part of the problem, just like discounting every one of these institutions. And I said, look,
I think we're part of the discovery.
yeah. So he didn't say problem, to be fair. He just said, like, how do you view that? And I was like, look, we don't hold our agencies, elected officials accountable. We kind of always accepted them for face value. We just said, oh, they're the president. Oh, they're the governor. They're the mayor. They must know what to do. What COVID uncovered for the general population is that they actually don't know what they're doing, and which is okay. You don't need to know everything, but they will never at any point admit fault or wrongdoing, which I get is very difficult to do in their position. Like CDC can't come out and like say, we kind of made some bad calls in regards to COVID. I get that. But there's no accountability of like, you know what, this is how we're going to handle things in the future, or this is how, or give a further explanation on decisions, not just throw these massive mandates. And I think the general population now, before it was just like intellectual elites that knew that this was all bullshit. Now it's like all of us are like, oh,
yep,
these guys don't know what the hell they're doing on anything.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I see Kevin's point, but I think we're a long way from saying get rid of these structures. We're just
it's like
we're
hold
just
them
on
accountable.
some like can we talk to the manager type situation? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like the
just
Federal
fix it up
Reserve,
a
can we
little.
like figure out, do you guys understand what's going on in the economy? Have you been to
Yeah,
El
I think it's
Compadre on a
important to-
Saturday night? Like
Yeah.
what date are you?
Exactly. I mean, it looks like all this speaking out caused the Pelosi's to sell their Nvidia stock and take a L.
They need the tax write-off. They made so much money. She needed a loss.
Yeah, it was really. So I haven't watched one of the morning political shows in so long. So I had Meet the Press on this morning, and Joe Manchin, who's probably senator from West Virginia. He's like the centrist Democrat.
He's the most powerful person in America.
Right. Because he can like basically crater any like left wing bill. So he's on and he's talking about the bill that him and Schumer have just like agreed on. It's a $730 billion. They call it the Inflation Reduction Bill. I don't want to get into all that.
Yeah.
What I want to get into is Chuck Todd, who's the host of Meet the Press, asked him a direct question. He goes, do you want the Democrats to win the midterms? And he responded saying, I want whoever the people want to elect, and I'm going to work for them because I'm sick of left and right. We're not working for the people. We're not doing anything for the people. All we're doing is arguing, and people are sick of politics. Chuck Todd spent about 5 minutes trying to cornering him into saying, oh, so you don't want the Democrats to win.
Yeah.
And he just kept saying, like, I want whoever is elected, and I'm going to work for them. And that's not an acceptable response in today's discourse.
Yeah. No, it's not.
It's
It's
not,
almost like insane.
well,
Because
he's
everything
just-
is so like tribal and like you can't even slightly.
And he did it over and over. And Chuck Todd was just trying to get him to say it, and he just wouldn't do it. I'm not saying I agree or disagree with anything. I was just kind of fascinated. It's the first politician I heard that wasn't jumping to like either side.
Yeah, that's where we've gotten to. You can't. I think you can't even give like a shred of space to the other side.
And Chuck Todd was
can't
in
even-
disbelief. He was like laughing, like, "Wait,
Yeah.
you're not saying like
Yeah.
what are you doing?" It was
It's
so.
all out war.
It was like alien to hear someone say like, "Hey, I just want to like get policy done."
Yeah. It shouldn't be a war. Like it shouldn't literally be civil fucking war. Like yeah, of course you want your party to win, but I don't know. It's just gotten really, really nuts with that. I mean, from everything that I hear, this is way before my time or even giving a shit, but it sounds like even Democrats and Republicans like in Congress used to be a lot more friendly with each other. Like the way that they would hang around each other after work.
That was
and
like
they
the
would-
Bill Clinton thing. That's how he got all his legislation done. There's stories about him just smoking cigars and playing cards with the Republicans and like the backroom cloak. Like, this is how you get other people on your side. That's how the
That would
90s
never
worked.
happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's how if you wanted to actually get anything done, you had to play both sides. Otherwise, you can't get anything done.
Even John Boehner and Obama, by the end, they were like kind of political enemies. Kind of had like a friendly
play golf and stuff like that.
They had like a friendly banter by the end of his term. That is inconceivable today.
Inconceivable, yeah. Which is so stupid. Which is why nothing gets done. There's no way to get anything done that way, and everyone just tries to like steamroll over the other group. There's no way. I don't know how. The problem is I don't know how it like ever goes back, you know? Like it just feels like it's going to go further and further and further. Like how does it ever go back to
well,
that?
it could be someone like a Manchin who's like, you know, let's say Manchin becomes very popular. Like let's say that clip goes viral, right? And it starts working to his benefit where he gets thrown into the president conversation. Then what do politicians care about more than anything? Just win. Win is all that matters. If being neutral means you could win, then people will change their tune.
I'm not going to lie. I liked what he was saying, Manchin.
Okay, Manchin.
But don't you think like the other Democrats are going to like box him out? Like how they do.
To.
But they can't right now because
Because
even in this bill,
so much
he got something to get this done.
Everything that the Democrats want to get done relies on Manchin. If they don't have Manchin's vote, nothing gets done.
And that's
I just mean like to get the presidential nomination. It sounds like you have to like have so much organic momentum to make it through like the outcome that they want.
I wonder if he's doing
Let's
this
build
tour.
mansions. That should be his name.
I wonder if this tour is he wants to run for president.
Oh, he's getting a temperature check. If I'm neutral and I'm not crazy, can I still get attention?
I mean, he saved us on the Build Back Better.
Yep.
Remember that guy was like evil. Like if you didn't follow politics at all, you just knew in your head, this guy is evil.
Yeah, he screwed America.
Bad. This guy's the enemy. This guy screwed America. And
he probably stopped the Depression.
In hindsight, yeah.
But now you can't
El Compadre would have been closed.
I would be making my huevos rancheros in the back.
You would.
Everyone would be. The place would be complete madness.
Oh, man. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, build mansions. That's a good slogan. And
everyone gets a mansion.
Yeah. I like it. A mansion for all. Okay. Speaking of mansions for all, let's talk about Google. They're someone who hands out mansions. They have 174,000 employees, which is
insane.
So crazy. I can't imagine. And
they're a software company. A technology. They make no physical goods, and they have 174,000 employees. It's
also
nuts.
like I wonder what number of those employees are responsible for revenue driving products. Like, is it 5,000?
How many chefs of the 174,000?
I mean,
how many work on search?
I guess they own Nest, right?
They own Nest.
They make phones, or they gave up the phone biz.
They gave up the phone. Waze.
That's not a physical product.
So if you had to cut, I just want to guess, if you had to cut every employee that doesn't drive profit driving business.
So YouTube and search is like probably 90% of their profits.
They have cloud, don't they?
Yeah, cloud. Sorry. So 3 massive drivers.
You could basically get rid of all those other people. You could get rid of 50% of Google and they probably wouldn't skip a beat.
That's so crazy. Well, here's the problem. They're saying that they are not looking right now at firing. Mm-hmm. So that's not currently in the discussion. But they have a focus problem. They have an efficiency problem. So they're trying to figure, I mean, shocker. Your 174,000 employees aren't focused, but they have these. They're just trying to get people fired up to be more efficient, be more focused. They're not talking about firing, but they do need to fix that problem.
So he wrote. He said
Sundar.
Sundar, CEO of Google. There are real concerns that our productivity as a whole is not where it needs to be for the headcount we have. He asked employees to help create a culture that is more mission focused, more focused on our products, more customer focused. We should think about how we can minimize distractions and really raise the bar on both product excellence and productivity. So Mark Zuckerberg had a similar conversation with his staff, and his was a lot more aggressive. And I took away two things. One, they're both saying the exact same thing. Basically, like, everyone should be very concerned if you're not, and adding value to the company. But like the way Sundar said it was very like diplomatic and probably more effective. And then Zuckerberg's like dropped the hammer and was like, if you don't belong here, get out, basically. And I think Facebook's facing a more existential crisis. So he has to be that aggressive.
Yeah, he has to.
Where Sundar's like, we kind of had a record quarter and like,
we still have unlimited
whatever.
profit.
There's a bunch of idiots here. We know that. And like, hopefully they'll leave.
Can I give a couple
get focused?
real life examples? So I have one of my best friends who you guys all know was working at a company that got acquired by Google. It's about 10 years ago. And he was considered kind of middle management at the time, 10 years ago. And in the acquisition, they were just like, all right, like, we have no idea what we want you to do, but here's this like $500,000 salary. We're going to give you all these options and, just please stay. So
it's like that scene. We think we talked about it in Silicon Valley where they're like tanning on the roof and they're like, oh, there's the guys that got acquired by Google.
I know this story firsthand, like really well. He would show up at like 10 in the morning, had literally nothing to do, would just bring books to work and just start reading. And by like 4 p.m., he's making $500,000 a year. This is 10 years ago. Yeah. And he was just bored. And then he went and told the company, like his manager, whoever at the time was, and was like, hey, I want to start a company. And I think me and this guy are going to leave. Another guy that was part of the acquisition. Yeah. And the guy said, no, please don't leave. Please don't leave. They had no role for him. Yeah. They were like, no, don't leave. Yeah. And he was like, no, this is like, I'm in my prime. Like, I need to leave. They doubled his options. This is 10 years ago.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And he and his friend were like, no, we want to go start a company. And, had he not left, those options would have been worth like astronomical. But that's how they treat this stuff back then. That's the culture. It's basically crazy. Like pencils down. Don't build a company that we're going to have to buy for $1 billion. We'd rather pay you millions and don't do anything.
Yeah. But why wouldn't you at least be like, okay, go start your company and we own 20% or what? I don't know. Like, why?
I mean, do you know how many stories we have of like friends who went on like 6-month bike rides? They're like, we're tens of millions of dollars at Google. Yeah. Like they just take a sabbatical and they bike across the country.
Yeah.
And they have 174,000.
If you work at Google or Facebook, the best thing you can do is
once you have tenure. It's like better than being a teacher or cop or anything.
Forget tenure. Just start have a kid every year. Between paternity leave, maternity leave, they're not going to fire you if you have kids.
Right. You can have 10 kids, 10 years, stack up like $20 million bucks.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I would go work at one of these companies and just pop kids out.
Like, read books, start a podcast
pets.
or
something. They have pet
By the
care,
way,
pet insurance, all that stuff.
Look, if you're Mormon, you enjoy having children anyways. Just go to Facebook and have kids. It's the best place to have kids.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Okay, well, that's great. Well, shockingly, they have a problem with focus. So, Anand, you might need to call your buddy and tell him he needs to really get focused.
He left saying he should have never left.
Oh my God.
Right.
So he's like,
and he had to work he's very successful today, but he wouldn't have to do shit. And he worked so much money.
And he would be, by the way, he'd probably be in excellent shape. He would have
been biking. He'd be triathlons.
He's so well read.
So well read.
His cardio would be on point. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I didn't. This is cool. I got a DM from Jason Kalkanis of the All In Pod.
Nice.
And he was listening to the podcast, and he said, "Thanks for the shout out."
Nice.
I'm glad he chose that one.
Yeah. Well, we've always said nice things about him. So.
Yeah, I've always said. Hey, and I was probably one of the first people to discover that podcast. We talked about it like post episode 1. Yeah.
I mean, that's the only podcast
Great show.
I still listen to.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad. Yeah, because there's been, there's probably been.
Well, we're allowed to disagree.
But you're right. We always, J Cal is always, we've never said anything bad about him.
I think
come on the show, J Cal.
Yeah, we need to. He said he's down.
I think he's like a complete amazing hustler, worker. Like he's figured it out.
Yeah,
Good
come
for-
on, give us the tea about what really happened with the All In podcast.
Ooh.
Okay, moving on. We have this article, and I got to be honest, this is not because, I promise, even though it's going to sound that way, not because I'm an Elon Musk fan, but I don't like this article unless I read something wrong about it. So this is a Bloomberg article about how Elon Musk's, shenanigans are turning away or sort of turning off Tesla buyers, the buyers of the actual cars. People that were once Elon fans are now, getting turned off by all of his stuff, all of his Twitter stuff, all just, whatever, we know his shenanigans, and they're choosing to ditch the brand. Now, my problem, and I'm just curious your guys' take here, or maybe you took it differently, is this feels to me like based kind of on one experience from like a 70-year-old dude.
It's a few experiences of a 73-year-old, a 48-year-old, and a 28-year-old.
The 28-year-old is, questionable. But the other ones, I mean, come on. You have all the young people that love it.
Yeah.
It just feels a little hit piecey to me. Like, don't you think for each one of these, there's another person that says, oh my gosh, Elon is so sick. I bought my Tesla. Like, we know young people that Tesla is their dream car and Elon is the GOAT. And it just feels like they cherry picked.
Yeah. And look, I'm not surprised that there are people that own Teslas or are considering an electric car that don't want to buy it because of Elon. I think it's absolutely ridiculous, stupid. But I get it. Like, whatever. People can.
I don't even think it's that stupid. It's like, of course, there's those people, and
you know
what I mean.
Fine.
That's totally
it's
great.
just stupid.
But if you want, electric car. Let's just say, put aside him for a second. The electric car that is probably the best electric car in the market that's accessible and price are Teslas, right? Like, there are other electric cars that are cheaper, and there's other electric cars that are more expensive. But given how many cars they've sold, the supercharger network, it's just like, it seems like if you're going to go electric, it feels safe to get a Tesla at this point.
Of course. And I think these articles are just so stupid because, like, you could find someone who talks shit about anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just because it's Elon and Tesla, you have to, like, put it on Bloomberg.
Yeah, they want to smear him.
Like, if it was like we interviewed 100 Tesla customers and here is what we found.
You could find 100 Rolex owners and you're going to have one that says it sucks. No one's writing that article.
They went and grabbed 3 that purposely, I mean, unless I missed something, there wasn't like the other side, right? It was just, here's 3 people that are sick of Elon.
Yeah. And I will tell you, there's the one thing about Nike that I always thought was so brilliant. Nike only cares about the youth. They're this massive, massive business that has tens of billions of dollars in revenue. They literally don't care about anyone but young people for their entire business because they know as long as whatever the next younger generation loves the brand, it will always stay relevant. And they've always done that, and they've always catered to that. They don't care what you think politically. They do what they want for young people.
Yep.
Tesla, to me, is that for automobiles, right?
Yeah.
Like, Elon caters to younger people. Like, he is aspirational to them. And there are probably so many kids that in their background screen, 17-year-olds, their dream car is probably a Tesla. Their posters in their room are probably Teslas. I saw so many people. Dude, I see so many kids wearing like SpaceX merch.
For sure. Yeah.
But what's interesting, they actually both do care politically, right? Nike's very clearly liberal.
Yeah, because it's good for business.
Yeah, and Elon is basically like, I'm anti-establishment. I'm going to say whatever I want. And that's also built his brand and built the affiliation to Tesla.
Yeah. And I think the point being is that both of those resonate with young people. Being anti-establishment is youth, right? Like that is.
I mean, that's what Colin Kaepernick was.
Yeah,
it was
exactly.
Anti-establishment.
Yeah, and I think ultimately, I think most consumer brands can be successful catering to only young people. Even Tesla, who probably has turned off so many older people because of Elon, there's probably so many young people who their first car is all going to be Teslas. If you think like a 16-year-old today, when they get their first job, my guess is they're going to lean towards that car more so than anything else.
I also just think that like the same thing you said in the beginning of this conversation, that it is stupid that you would not buy the car. Like, I think it's the same way that AOC drives a Tesla. It's like, even if you think Elon's a douchebag or whatever, it's the best electric car. Like, I think there's probably a lot of people that still go buy Teslas. They're like, yeah, Elon's kind of annoying, but this is still the best car. Like, I don't think it impacts car sales in any sort of material way. I think it's just an attempt to write a bad article.
Yeah, it's like people who like, I hate Facebook, I hate Mark Zuckerberg, and then they're on Instagram all day.
Yeah, and I also think like
I'm like, who do you think runs both companies? They're like WhatsApping, they're on WhatsApp talking shit about Facebook.
And it's also increasingly showing how irrelevant the media is, because no one really gives a shit what MSNBC, CNN, Fox, any of these people say.
Yeah.
Because Fox News, they care.
Fox News, yeah.
Fox News works.
There was like an exchange on Twitter where Elon said something like, the media is like a click focused machine disguised as a fact focused machine, and then Lex Fridman responded and said the clickbait industrial complex. Yeah, and then Elon laughed. And like, I do think it's all clicks at this point. Like, what?
No,
what?
And Elon said inflation's trending down.
He did.
Yeah, he did.
He tweeted that.
He did, according to his, which, I mean,
if he's right,
he sees a lot of products. He sees a lot of, between all of his companies, he sees a lot of, whatever you want to call it, products of different things that go into all of these products. And he said across the board, it's looking like inflation's down. Print it. That's more reliable than the CPI, in my opinion.
I agree. 100%.
I mean,
agree.
It's that, or you walk down the street and, ask 10 people at random.
That's what I said. Like, why aren't we talking to these CEOs and figuring out what's actually going on?
Yeah. So I had two anecdotal conversations today. One was, it's our friend who is mainly in the corporate event business, where he does like big talent bookings. Listens to the podcast. I'm not going to say his name, but he told me his business was out of control last year, really strong first half of the year. And usually by now, like, all the events are booked, done, year's over. He said he started getting a lot of corporate cancellations.
Woo.
Because these companies are obviously publicly laying people off. So you can't have this, like, big party and be celebrating, in the holidays, because it's more than likely going to get uglier before it gets better for most folks. And then I ran into a guy who does real estate, and he said, yeah, record last year, there's an insane amount of homes. And he's like, it's slow now. And
does he do high end, or does he do?
I mean, he does LA, so I'm assuming
minimum 1 to 2
million, probably, yeah. But you definitely, like, if you look at all of the data around housing, and now some in Wall Street Journal today, wheat prices are what they were before Russia invaded Ukraine.
That's good.
That's a good sign. So that the prices are dropping.
Is that a demand thing, though? Like, is that like oil? Like, it's a demand issue?
You don't need any tortillas because no one's going to El Compadre.
Yeah. That's the question, right? Is it because inflation is lessening, or because?
I think it's both, right? Like, I think there's definitely like demand destruction across the country.
There has to be.
Yeah. Like, everyone I talked to, I ran into our friend, and I was telling him I left Javier's, and I was like, man, I forgot how expensive that place is.
Yeah.
It was literally like $50 plus entrees.
$50?
Yes. Like,
for
if
like
you wanted
enchiladas?
Like, enchilada maybe was like $38.
Which is insane.
Really?
Yeah.
What the
My
fuck?
salad was $32.
Come to Compadre. There's no wait. $12 enchiladas.
My salad was $32, and I'm vegetarian. It was cucumbers.
Wow. This is at the Century City?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's funny how, like, you notice these things. That's a sign of the recession.
Yeah. I look at every price now. I never used to pay attention to, like, I forgot what I was at the grocery store the other day, and I was like, that's $10, and I couldn't believe what it was. I was just like, $10 for this? I'm like, I'm never getting this again. It's $10.
It's so funny. You just turn into like an old like Midwestern dad.
I totally am.
This is ridiculous. Yogurt.
I also have a deeper appreciation because we never really shopped at Trader Joe's ever.
Trader Joe's is amazing.
Yeah, I just never, as an adult.
I lived next to Trader Joe's for a decade.
Yeah, and we live pretty close to one, but we randomly went in one like 2 months ago, and we were like, oh, now that our kids like eat snacks and shit, it's like nice, cool stuff.
Very affordable.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe how cheap Trader Joe's is compared to, all the other grocery stores I go to.
Trader Joe's, privately owned.
Yeah.
They do like $12 billion in revenue.
Oh my God.
Joe.
Whoever is Joe is making a lot of money.
Yeah. Joe's doing well.
Just trading away.
He's just trading. He's in Carmel. I remember that was like a hot spot for our staff, like for
but
lunch
you know
breaks.
what's cool about
Yeah.
Trader
Trader
Joe's?
Joe.
It's affordable, but it doesn't have the stigma. I don't know how they did that.
Well,
I didn't know it was affordable. I'm going to be honest. I thought it was the same as Whole Foods.
No, it's like
way
70% cheaper
Yeah.
than Whole Foods.
Yeah. I just
it's
assumed. No stigma.
You know what it is? It's the way it's displayed doesn't feel cheap, right? Like the experience is premium. Like the people at the cash register are so nice, so friendly, so helpful.
Yeah.
They see I have kids. They're like, do you need any help to your car? Do you want a sticker for them? They're just like, they're probably paying their employees really well, is my guess.
Joe's a nice guy.
Yeah, I mean,
Joe.
$12 billion.
Yeah. You can be a little more
No, and
lenient.
there's like BuzzFeed articles, like 10 facts about Trader Joe's.
Hacks and
Yeah, one of the things, you can go to any Trader Joe's and ask them to try it. They have to open the bag and let you try it.
Oh my God. You could be a real piece of shit there. You know what I mean? Like that just seems like a hack that like could really be taken advantage of.
yeah, go have a meal. Go have 7 things. And
Just try one
I'm
chip.
good. Yeah.
Find the biggest bag of chips, little cheese puffs, and ask to try one. That's crazy.
It's a good establishment. I'm a fan.
All right, drama had to dip, so Anand and I are going to finish the rest of the episode. The thing that I was thinking about is every bill that gets passed, there's more money for COVID.
Mm-hmm.
There's budgets being put aside for monkeypox. There's constantly money putting aside for COVID relief, COVID treatments, COVID testing, PPP, whatever. I was reading this article in the Wall Street Journal on all the other health issues that have been exacerbated because of COVID. So everything from obesity, obviously heart disease, drug and alcohol use through the roof. Obviously opioid has been a big problem. But the amount of deaths just in drug overdose deaths in the US last year was over 100,000. That's just in one category here. And then when you keep going down, mental health, serious mental health issues, the last year, it's literally gone berserk. The percentage of adults that have serious mental health issues, 10% between 18 and 25 have mental health issues. And you keep going down, everything, firearm, homicide rates, all of these things have gone completely berserk. The thing that I don't see the government doing is, one, talking about these problems to the extent that we talk about COVID. We talk about COVID all day, every day. We make, a Friday, everyone thought the city of LA was going to do a mask mandate, and they obviously backed off because they know politically that would not have been popular to do it. But think about how much attention we put as a country on this one thing.
But here's the issue, right? The problem is we didn't pivot because the one thing was insane.
Yeah.
Like 1 million people did die that probably wouldn't have died in the first 12 to 18 months of this disease.
Yeah.
And here's the issue with the COVID kind of Monday morning quarterbacking is, in the beginning, it was an extremely deadly virus.
Yeah.
And masks were actually necessary.
Yeah.
And I don't care what Florida did. People fucking died in Florida. People died in California. The reason people died in LA at the same rates is because we're in a different structure, right? Like multi-generational homes. They were working at markets and coming home, bringing home the virus and killing people.
No, I'm not saying that
So
what they did is wrong.
No, my point is because
right.
COVID was extremely serious the first 12 to 18 months of the disease.
Yeah.
The problem is now the disease is like different.
Yeah.
And the disease is different in the sense that like Omicron isn't as deadly. And like we don't want to like evolve our public perception of this stuff.
I'm okay if you want to keep dumping all this money into COVID because you think that's the right thing to do. But why don't we dump money into all these other things that are actually currently killing Americans? Like we don't have... Think about how much money and effort and resources we put around COVID. We have an obesity problem that's way worse in this country than COVID is. More people are dying because of heart disease
but like the difference is like where do you put the money for obesity? You stop selling Coke? Like,
yeah, I mean okay.
Here the COVID issue is like kind of transactional, right? Put it into vaccines, put it into like PPE and all this stuff. How do you prevent the other disorders?
Okay, opioids can be dealt with. That there's probably government regulation that would have an impact on opioid.
No, because I obviously agree. It's like if you throw money at an issue, you can, but like if you don't change behavioral habits of people, how do you change that? Like you can tell someone to go get a vaccine, you're not going to die of COVID. You can't tell someone like, hey, maybe you should eat 3 healthy meals a day.
You know, maybe you have to like figure out, okay, what is the reason why people eat unhealthy in this country? Mainly because
some
lower
of it's
income,
poverty.
Poverty, the only food that's available to you and accessible to you are things like fast food or, unhealthy food. So why not throw money at giving people healthier meal options? I'm not saying ban fast food. You can't do that. But like, why not give people access to those resources?
Or at least talk about it. That's the big thing.
Even
like,
if there was a campaign about like, eat a salad a week.
Right.
Like, I mean, most of these people are not eating any vegetables ever. They're drinking. Like when you walk into a gas station, right, and you go to the snacks section, that is what America eats. I never buy anything at a gas station except water. I looked the other day, I was like, dying, starving. And I found unsalted raw almonds.
And it's crazy. Like even in the like wealthier neighborhoods, the gas stations aren't different.
No,
which is crazy because that's the demand.
Yeah,
the demand is doesn't matter if you're rich
cigarettes,
or poor.
Coca-Cola, Red Bull,
and like Cheetos, flaming hot Cheetos.
Yeah,
how many flaming hot everything?
Yeah, that's my point. Is that like you look at things like the mental health crisis. I don't know how you attack that. I honestly don't. I don't know what it is that's happening with like, and if it's social media, if that's what it is, social media. Then fine. Then like, ban TikTok. I mean, today there was a article that came out saying the Chinese government got pushed back from TikTok because they were trying to create shadow accounts to track Americans. Like it's so blatant.
Yeah, TikTok's
to
obvious
propaganda.
But it's also like there should be an age minimum for social media. Okay, I'm like fully on board with that.
Yeah, so that should be 18 at least, right? Like,
I mean, if you can't drive till 16, you can't go to the military 18, but you can poison your mind at 12.
Yeah,
seems stupid.
Well, my point is if you put all the effort into attacking each of these problems, you can have a better outcome. You just can.
Yeah, of course.
But we'll continue to dump money into COVID. And it's not the same disease it was a year ago.
No, it's not. And it's also like who benefits from it, who the lobbyists are.
Yeah.
Did you know 75% of all TV ad spend is pharmaceutical companies?
Yeah.
That is shocking.
Yeah. Don't you remember Quiz Show?
Quiz Show?
You mean the movie?
Yeah.
I mean, Geritol. They ran basically TV in America.
But you know how perverse that is? Yeah. That pharmaceutical drugs that are supposed to be prescribed by a doctor are getting advertised to the consumer.
Yeah.
Why do we need to know what these drugs are? The doctors should be prescribing it, not the consumer demanding it.
Consumer goes, oh, do you have depression? Are you bloated? Doc, I'm depressed and I'm bloated.
Give me that.
Give me Zoloft.
Yeah. It's so ridiculous.
Yeah, it is ridiculous. And I think that's the problem I have is that like.
So you're telling me at the upfronts, it's just a bunch of pharmaceutical companies?
Yeah. Pfizer.
75%.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I like the cop show on CBS.
I mean, when you watch TV, it's all pharmaceutical and fast food. One's giving you the other one.
But this is 75%.
You eat enough Taco Bell, you just cruise right into the ad on the pharmaceutical company. It's like, it's an easy segue.
Yeah, that's crazy. Up fronts must just be a bunch of Pfizer reps, right? Getting wined and dined by CBS and NBC.
Yeah. I mean, if you're
I mean, we have some agents that listen to the show. Are you guys just like hobnobbing with Pfizer and
pharmaceutical reps. Yeah, I mean, look, that industry is just so too big.
And it's so corrupt.
And I think, like, I don't know. What my thing is just, I do believe that, like, we are capable of solving very big problems. When in
emergency, yes.
Yeah. So
when the economy was about to be, when it was shut down, everyone went all hands on and solved COVID.
I'm telling you,
at least made it less deadly because they got a vaccine and the next strains weren't as deadly.
Yeah. So my thing is when I think about mental health and I think about all of these other things that are happening, the reason why I focus on obesity the most, because I think that's actually the biggest problem in the country, is think about it from this perspective. If you are physically unhealthy, you're just a less productive person in general. You may lack confidence, which can lead to mental health issues. You may lack energy to accomplish all the things you want to do in your life. All of these things are very much driven around your general status of health. And I think I'm just shocked that we as a country aren't like forcing everyone to like be at least aware around health. Like really like.
But who benefits from that? Think about how many, the pharmaceutical companies don't benefit from that. So I just said 75% of TV ad spend is pharmaceutical companies.
Sure. What I'm saying is like, if there's, let's maybe Joe Manchin.
I was going to say.
Maybe Manchin's our guy and be like, yo, you want to run on a real issue? Like, let's get America healthy again. I truly believe all of these other issues become lessened. Even homicide, when you're just a generally physically and mentally healthy person. Mental health starts with physical health too.
I mean, it really should come down to like from elementary school, junior high to high school, there should be like 2 hours of nutrition. It's better than learning history.
So here, no, I'll tell you a big thing because we visit a lot of schools. Even some of the public schools we talk to and some of the private schools we talk to, very few did we find were very adamant about physical activity for children. Like, you have to be outside. There are certain schools that like, oh, we are an outside, we're sports, we want everyone playing sports. We think that helps with team building, community, all those things. If you really think about it, like PE arguably is probably the most important thing in your childhood education learning experience, is to actually be physical and move your body. What do you remember from an education standpoint that's so transformative? But why not get everyone to be more active at a young age? If you make activity part of your youth, it'll continue on with the rest of your life.
You know, it's funny you say that because I'm like thinking back to junior high, and junior high, like whatever, I did the honors classes of all these things. Do you know what I remember? The 15 and 20 minute runs.
Yeah.
And how hard they were.
They were so hard.
And
that was PE in elementary school when I was so out of shape. Was the hardest thing for me, running laps.
Yeah, we had to run around the 4 soccer field, whatever, and like did 20 minutes. I remember dreading it every single time, but you were forced to do it.
Yeah.
Do they force kids to do it these days? We didn't have a choice. We had to do it.
Yeah, I think you still have to. Maybe not in high school.
This is junior high.
Yeah.
We're 12. And then, but it like taught good habits, and it made me want to do Students Run LA. I was like, oh, this is fun.
Yeah.
And like, I didn't train. I did a little bit. I did a 10K, but I didn't get to the marathon, but whatever. I was 13. I was like, oh, I can do this.
Yeah.
And it was like empowering.
Yeah.
Cause like I did the 20 minutes.
I always say this. When I think about like just life accomplishments, doing a triathlon, running a marathon, and like all the races and all the running things I've done, they have been like my most proud moments of like individual accomplishment. Yeah. More so than anything in business. when I finished that marathon or finished that triathlon or finished these races, I was like, I felt like a badass.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, I did it.
100%.
It's like you're so proud of yourself. And I did when I'm reading this article, like it all stems from just an unhealthy lifestyle.
Yeah, and the endorphins you get from
and we just don't push it up in like in our house, dude, we have to go on walks every single day. Every kid's outside. You got to ride your bike, got to walk. You can't sit in the stroller. You got to like go. It's like, you got to teach those habits at a young age. Otherwise it does become, whenever like I felt overweight in my life and I felt didn't feel good as a person. And then I lost the weight and I felt amazing.
Yeah.
And it creates such good habits for all aspects of your life.
But how do we go about that? So like we obviously, I think the problem is, people of means have figured that out.
Yeah.
Because people of means are generally healthier.
Yeah.
They're going to gyms. They have trainers.
We should reward healthiness. Reward it in society. Reward it at school. Like, hey, everyone who runs a mile today gets off school early.
Yeah, you don't have to go to history, which is fake.
Yeah, exactly.
Take the hour out of history.
Yeah, everyone think about it. On Fridays, everyone who runs a mile gets to go home early. That's awesome.
It's way better than learning whatever nonsense.
I just think we threw $1 trillion to fix COVID.
Trillions.
Put $1 trillion on fixing obesity.
Yeah, no, I think
at least $1 trillion. I don't think give people money if they're in shape. Hand it out.
Yeah.
Why not? You get a tax credit if your height and weight and your body mass index, you fall under this.
Yeah, you
get a tax credit.
Send your Apple tracker that you ran. You did 10,000 steps a day.
It's a tax deduction.
Yeah. I 100% agree. It's a less burden on the system across
healthcare system, everything. It's better for society if Americans are healthier.
Just who's going to do that? Manchin? Are we all on Manchin?
Manchin's the future. Manchin needs to do the health plan.
But the problem is the McDonald's lobby and the Wendy's lobby, and they're all going to be coming.
Yeah, but maybe it just needs to be a movement with the people. Like people should demand, why am I not healthy?
And the real issue is with exercise. Like when you have community, it's so much easier to exercise.
Yeah.
So if you're a 15-year-old kid and everyone's like, hey, I don't want to go to history class, let's run a mile.
Yeah.
They'll all do it together.
Yeah.
But they're not going to do it solo.
No, I get it. And that's why I think you got to teach these habits at a young age. And I just think PE should actually have a way bigger presence in schools.
I think PE and nutrition.
Yeah.
We should be teaching nutrition from like the age that kids can remember. What is it? Probably 8 or 9. Probably kids are starting to really comprehend.
I mean, Dominic knows. The other day I was like, do you want to get ice cream? He's like, I had a popsicle earlier today. I will not be having ice cream today.
Why do you say that? Because you guys
he knows
are brainwashed
it's not good. It's like sugar and this and that. And like, he would never have 2 treats in one day. He doesn't like anything that's like, like.
He might be an exception.
But he's educated about it. He knows, like, because we've told him. Like,
I feel like other kids are like, let me just sneak it in. I was at a birthday on Saturday. Kids were trying to sneak in every treat they could.
Yeah, I mean, Dominic will literally ask us if he can have it, and then, but it's so important to us. It's like part of the way we're raising them is about nutrition, because I know how, like, we didn't eat healthy growing up.
Yeah.
And like, we were fortunate that in college we like decided to get in great shape and it was fine, but like,
yeah, you can go the other way really quickly.
Yeah, and then it has compounding effects on your life that's just not worth. All unavoidable, in my opinion.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good luck with that. I don't think anything's going to happen, but that's just a thought I have. I could not believe what I'm about to share. Apparently, in 2016, when Donald Trump came out and he started obviously running for president, they did an initial order of 100 Make America Great Again hats.
Mm-hmm.
And, they were testing it. They wanted to see if it works. Apparently, at the peak of 2016, they were doing $80,000 a day in hat sales.
People wanted to make America great.
I mean, And then they started saying they were spending $10,000 a day on Facebook.
Just for merch.
Yes.
Well, back in 2015, that's when Facebook ads actually worked.
Yeah. I think they'll still work for him. And
Did you see?
It's insane. Like, they raised all of their campaign money by selling merch. He didn't even need this regular donations. He was selling $80,000 a day in hats.
He's a phenomenon.
Yeah.
That it's probably never going to happen again, where someone with his personality can just capture this percentage of the population.
Yeah.
I mean, I told you the story in Vegas. The guy is convinced the election was stolen.
Yeah.
And you know how many millions probably believe that?
150 million.
And then did you see him at Live, the Nelk boys?
Yeah.
Like went and like grabbed a photo op with him.
Yeah. I mean, he's a pop culture phenomenon. People love him.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I think people are very comfortable with like what and we talked about this earlier. Tesla is not going to get hurt by Elon Musk's antics, right? Donald Trump's popularity, he's separate despite his political views, or like people still want to be around him, and they just put the political views to the side so that they can be a part of the hype machine. And that's, I mean, the fact that
he's basically like separated, like you said, he separated himself from like the nonsense to like, you just want to be around this like guy that's super popular.
Yeah.
And everyone ignores the nonsense.
Yeah.
Not everyone. His fans ignore the nonsense.
Yeah.
Like the Nelk boys.
Yeah.
They're just like, we just want to be around the nonsense. That's, I mean, that's the Nelk boys. They're nonsense. Yeah. Right.
And they're tripling down.
Yeah.
And it's clearly working for their brand. It's connecting. Yeah. I mean, look, I think it's going to be, November is going to be really telling. November is going to be very, very
November's going to tell us what the country wants.
Yeah. I have a good idea of what they want.
We'll see. Let's go on to...
Yeah. So let me tell you an interesting thing. I watched the Will Smith video.
I did too.
Weird.
I thought it was a complete horseshit.
In which part?
So the video was about like 5.5 minutes.
Yeah.
And did you not notice they had product placement of Just Water?
Yeah.
So is this an apology, or is this like, hey, I'm just going to make this a spectacle?
Both. It's a spectacle and an apology.
It was the stupidest apology of all time. You could have said this the next day.
Yeah.
He said nothing.
Well, I think...
And I'm honestly one of the biggest Fresh Prince fans of all time. Like, Will Smith was my entire childhood. Anyone who's around our age grew up like worshiping Will Smith, and he's become a clown show. And his apology basically kind of reinforced that.
Well, I think the problem with the apology, in my opinion, is so he was addressing it that like, hey, these are the questions I keep getting asked, so I want to address them. I thought that was interesting. I personally think if you're going to do this, I think you got to go on like an Oprah or 60 Minutes, whoever the best interviewer in the moment is, right? And have that conversation where that person can push you.
Right. You have to be asked the tough questions.
And like if Oprah sits down and says, Will, what are you doing? Like she would ask that question to him, like, you embarrassed us. Like, what are you doing? You know? And so I think that would have been a better format. This has felt too contrived. And Chris Rock is not like accepting it.
You know how stupid the apology was on so many levels? Like he said, I reached out to Chris and Chris isn't ready to talk. Like, why are you even saying that?
Yeah.
That's so stupid. Of course, like, why are you making it about yourself?
Yeah, and by the way, like, don't even say that he's not ready to talk.
Yeah, you're basically blaming him. Yeah. Like, I'm trying to make amends and no one's letting me apologize. I thought it was complete bullshit. And Will Smith, you know, I think he's like just kind of not going to come back from this.
Yeah, you know what Chris Rock said He said, if everybody claims to be a victim, then nobody will hear the real victims. Even me getting smacked by Shug Smith. And I think it's really hard. I think he's so like such a big star.
Yeah, he's as big as it gets.
And I think he's handling it like he's untouchable. And that's not how you win people over. Like I think he would have been better off saying nothing and waiting for people to forget.
Yeah,
And
you either do it right away within the first week and just say like, hey, I messed up and like I was a piece of shit.
I don't expect him to ever,
Yeah, and like you're saying like, I remember Questlove. Like, dude, you ruined the Oscars for everyone.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Well, I think he admitted that. He apologized for that. But I think...
But what's the... Like, what does it matter? Whatever, how many months later is it? Like, wasn't it February?
Yeah. March, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, something like that. So you're talking about almost 6 months.
Yeah. And yeah, look, I think I was expecting like the big comeback.
What really turned me off when they did the wide angle and the just water, I was like, oh, this is bullshit. Yeah. That was like my bullshit. Yeah. Like antenna went up immediately. Like you're trying to push a drink that your family owns a big piece of.
I think the bigger mistake was just doing like get interviewed.
Yeah.
Like I think if you go and get interviewed by someone that like, you know, will be tough on you, but will also show you empathy, then you
have to face the fire.
Yeah.
If you want to get back in the public eye, if you just want to disappear, then disappear.
Yeah.
Like other people, didn't Mel Gibson? He just disappeared.
Yeah, and he's fine.
Yeah, he's fine.
Yeah, no one cared. No one talks about him anymore. He does a movie here and there. And doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
He's like, this is who I am. You don't like it? Fuck off.
So, yeah, I thought that was, Chris Rock is so funny. He's so funny.
Yeah, he's really funny.
Shug Smith.
Shug Smith is good. And I think I'm excited just to see how Chris Rock continues to handle it. Because this, unfortunately, is like defining his career now.
Of course. Which sucks. Because he's a legend.
Yeah. And he has to deal with this for like the rest of his life. It sucks. It's a really sad situation.
And it's sad for Will. He was a legend too. And now this is all you're going to be remembered.
I am legend.
Yeah.
I was legend.
I was legend.
All right. Well, we're going to end the episode with a shout out. We have a great shout out. This is to our homies at DeviantArt and Jocelyn, who runs with us every week. I wanted to invite all the Kathys. August 3rd at the DeviantArt office is having a pop-up NFT gallery. Their office is sick, so I highly suggest checking it out. And it's hosted by Eric Motivate Spivak and is a collab with Moonlight Arts Collective, Hungry Artists, and New Friendship Tech. You get to see, check out the NFTs and then obviously mingle with people in the space. They have a panel, open bar, food vendors, and a DJ. It's a private event, so you must RSVP. So doors open at 6 p.m. RSVP at deviantartpopup.splashthat.com. So go check it out. I've gotten a front row seat to the beginning of DeviantArt. So yeah, 20 plus years.
Phenomenal company.
Yeah. Shout out to Angelo too. Yeah, check it out, Kathy.
You think Angelo's listening in Greece?
I bet you he listens every once in a while.
He's swimming right now in the Mediterranean.
I mean, it's morning. Yeah, he's probably going for a morning swim.
Are AirPods waterproof?
No, I don't think so.
Maybe he's on land.
AirPods should be waterproof. That's next. That's how they sell another $70 billion of AirPods. We're going to add one little feature. They're not waterproof. And then, of course, you have to toss out everything you own for that.
Yeah, of course.
All right, everyone. We will see you back here on Tuesday. Enjoy the week. Let's keep that inflation down. Don't spend any money.
Yeah.
Don't leave your house. Don't buy gas. Just
don't buy food. Just drink water. Water fast. It's healthy.
Just water.
Not just water. Okay. Regular water.
All right. See you guys Tuesday.